cryptocurrency meetup for June 2017. My name is Brandon Rosano. I'm one of the head organizers of the Philadelphia meetups. And today we're going to be having Kenneth Bozak here. He's going to be talking about scams, ICOs, safety, and security. And we also have Dan Fishman here. He's a long-term not member, but contributor, meetup attendee, if you will. He's going to be talking about precious metals today. And so, Kenneth, if you're interested in getting started?
Sure. Here, you can cue the next slides when they're ready. Alright, first, I'm Ken Bozak from the Bitcoin Podcast. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you, Brendan, so much for doing what you did. Getting us this location is awesome. I know we all appreciate it, so can we give him a round of applause for that?
Well, actually, we should be thanking Ami. She's the one that worked her magic to make us get this spot. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. So, let's give a round of applause for Ami, too.
Ami, thank you. So, let me start, before I get started, with that I'm not an expert, I'm an enthusiast, and this is a passion, this is a labor of love type of job for me, or hobby for me, or, so hopefully eventually I will become an expert, but I did just put this together, this was last minute, and we just wanted to make sure that you guys, if you're new to crypto, you have some understanding of like the scams, how ICOs work since everybody's talking about them, and how you can, be safe and secure your cryptocurrencies and assets. All right, so let me get started. I'm going to try to read this along because I did not have much time to memorize this. So, scams. The term scam in cryptocurrency seems to be overused and has created a, boy crying wolf scenario. Scams in crypto come in all shapes and sizes in a variety of packages. A few of the common scams are email phishing, shitcoins, as Tone Vays likes to call them, fake wallets, pop-up platforms, and anything pitching double your coins. And just watch out and be wary of anybody that's, that, hey buddy, come join my platform. Hey buddy, use this referral link. Hey buddy, how much money do you have? Maybe we could work together. Just be careful with that. Always, you want to make sure that that you see the white paper and there's some open source information. A scam isn't a scam until it scams, meaning that it might be profitable, but just because there's profits, it doesn't prove it's legit. All right. So, explained in short, like email phishing, just be careful. If you just signed up for Coinbase and you posted on Facebook, hey, I just made a Coinbase account. Coinbase is awesome. Use my referral link. You're making yourself a target. Somebody's going to send you an email to your, most popular given out email address. They're going to try to use Coinbase, but the O is a 0, or the I is a capital L or something. So it looks like it's really from Coinbase, and it will say, hey, reset your password from here, type in your current password, type in your new password, and now that person knows what your current password is. They're going to log into Coinbase and they're going to clear you out. So be wary like those email addresses when you receive them, and make sure it's not somebody phishing. Shitcoins, you want to make sure when somebody's saying, yo, invest in this cryptocurrency, I bought a bunch of it, or I'm thinking about buying a bunch of it, if you have the money, maybe you should, I don't. That's how scams, or people that invest in scams always start with, I didn't buy it yet because I don't have the money, but if you had the money, I would. Just make sure you get the white paper and you see what their roadmap is, how they plan on scaling, how they plan on, like what's their next step, not just, oh, there's the coin, you can see the chart, or you can see like a group of people just talking about it. Make sure that you get more information than just somebody saying, hey, invest in this. Pop-up platforms. Cloud mining is a really popular pop-up platform to just pop up. Everybody puts their money in and it just disappears. You go to log in and it's gone. Wallets have been known to do the same. The most recent was Ethereum Chamber, which pretty much got me as well. So it was like a wallet, looked legit. You could store your currency, you could pull it, it worked until it stopped being there. And then there was no way for you to get your cryptocurrencies back because they actually had your private keys and just pulled it. All right, so be careful, like pop-up platforms. You want to make sure something's over a year old to establish credibility, or you could always go and find other sources that you know, multiple other sources that can establish credibility for something. All right, and again, the whole like, hey buddy scenario. Somebody's going to send you a message. They're going to say, join this trading group I'm in. I'll send you some cryptocurrency for your first trade. That should be a red flag. Nobody's giving away money, ever. I mean, like, if somebody's like, here, join this group I'm in that's going to take your money and make you money. I guarantee you we're going to make you money. I'll even give you money to show you how to play. That's just, be wary of it. It's not everything is a scam, but just be wary of those scenarios. Alright, so how to avoid being scammed without missing opportunities. So the first tip is always find more than one trusted source to establish credibility. Maybe a couple publishers, individuals that are known, that are big in the space, that have their reputation on the line. Digital reputation to some people means a lot more than a referral link. So if people like Andreas Antonopoulos, Tone Vays, those people are talking about something, odds are that they really, truly do believe in it, because if it fails, they have something on the line to lose other than profits. So look for credibility and sources of that nature. Trusted crypto personalities, publications, communities go a long way. Groups like this, Facebook groups, communities, in the sense like the Bitcoin podcast, we have a Slack channel. You could join our Slack channel, and there's going to be tons of people that are going to be watching how people interact with you and answer your questions if you're new. And if somebody's saying something fishy or you feel like something ain't right, you have an entire group of people looking out for you to make sure that this one individual isn't misleading you or others. So join a community, something like a meetup like this if you haven't already. And like what you're doing right now, mingle and do due diligence. Look into it yourself. Ask people what they think about things. Hey, what do you think about BitConnect? What do you think about Genesis mining? Would you rather just have held your coins rather than use those platforms? Ask questions before you just dive into something, and you'll avoid a scam without missing opportunities. All right, any questions about scams in particular in this aspect? Cool, I nailed it. All right, next. I actually literally pulled this from Wikipedia, so a lot of you probably know this entire thing, but I tried wording it myself, and I just feel like, why reword it? They nailed it. So, an initial coin offering, an ICO, is the means of crowdfunding the release of a new cryptocurrency. Generally, tokens for the new cryptocurrency are sold to raise money for technology development before the cryptocurrency is released. Unlike an initial public offering, the IPO, developing or acquisition of the tokens does not grant ownership in the company developing the new cryptocurrency. And unlike an IPO, there is little to no government regulation in an ICO. That is a big debate right now, is the regulation of ICOs. The first ICO was for Mastercoin in 2013. I have no clue what Mastercoin is. Anybody? Yeah, I didn't. So if you invested in that, there you go. But here's another one. Ethereum raised money with an ICO in 2014, and we all know where Ethereum is today. So obviously, not all ICOs are scams, but a lot are. So just be careful. Sorry, I lost my place. ICOs are extremely popular as of May in 2017. There was around 20 offerings a month. And then there's this new browser. Anybody familiar with Brave, the browser? Use it. Anybody else? It's like Chrome in a sense. I like Brave.
It's actually built off Chrome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like the Litecoin to Bitcoin, Chrome to Brave browser. But their ICO generated about $35 million in 30 seconds. Yeah. 30 seconds. So, that, and there are at least 18 websites, and this was months ago, there's at least 18 websites that track ICOs. So, my question to you is, are ICOs killing crypto, and do we need regulation? Alright, so, ICOs explained in short. The creation, it could be the cryptocurrency itself, like Ethereum, or you could do something like the tokens, like MobileGo's I think was the most recent ICO that was big, right? MobileGo? cryptocurrency platforms. So there's a cryptocurrency called Game Credits, and their platform is mobile gaming, and they wanted to get money for that platform. So they created a token that they're going to use on the platform, and the money they raise for that token will go towards bettering the platform as a whole. So investors of the token, it's almost like a subsidiary company of another company or something to that effect if I had to relate it, but it's really hard to relate. But so in a sense, like you, so there's those coins, tokens, and then there's two ways that are very common for tokens to be created: the Ethereum tokens or the Waves tokens, because these platforms make it incredibly easy to make a token. Even you can make a token right now on Waves platform with one Waves. And then you can start an ICO and sell your own token. That's how easy it is. So that's how easy it is for a scam to be created in this whole new crowdfunding market. Then they go into promotion. You'll have, hopefully, white papers, websites, and marketing. You want to be careful and here's the thing, a lot of ICOs don't do too much marketing because they're not really trying to reach us. They're in rooms with other people that, they don't need to have flashy YouTube videos for. The Mobile Go ICO raised like over $50 million, and they didn't have any flashy YouTube videos till way after the ICO. Like there was no whiteboard, hey, come invest, this is how to join the ICO. They didn't make a how to join the ICO video. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then you have the distribution. The one I was involved in with Mobile Go, you could have used two means, Ethereum or other cryptocurrencies, Waves, Bitcoin, ANT or something like that, and you could have invested in this ICO. And they would distribute the coin either to the MyEther wallet or the Waves wallet, and a lot of people were using exchanges to get their funds. So if you were using like Poloniex, and they said, give us your Ethereum address and we'll send you your tokens, and you were using the address from an exchange, you lost your entire investment. It's just gone, lost in the ether. It's in space floating. So when you invest in an ICO, you want to make sure that you're following the directions and not just throwing money at something, because you will miss the distribution.
Any idea like what, approximate figure of those people, that lost money?
Oh man, in the Mobile Go one, I had my inbox blowing up the first day of distribution, man. I had to turn my phone off. It was giving me anxiety. There was a lot of money.
Did they not try and...
Oh, there was like 10 emails. Personally, in my inbox, I got like an email every other day reminding me to not use an exchange address and to make sure it was a Mu wallet or the Waves platform wallets. And I don't know, I had a lot of close friends lose money on that, and it sucks. And so, I mean, that goes to say, though, that people are getting into these ICOs without even reading the fine print. That's how fast you can't stop the money from flowing into these things. So that goes towards the whole, like, is this good for crypto or not? And then the pump and dump. When an ICO is over and it actually gets distributed between all of us that invested, and it hits an exchange, and we're all already in profit, odds are we're going to take profit. And that's going to go down, and then we're probably going to have people that see it, kind of consolidate around a solid price, and then we can reinvest and buy it back. And as the group of the initial investors who already took profit, when we reinvest, odds are it's going to go back up. We have that power. So we got to be careful with the whole pump and dumps. All right, so some tips on how to invest in an ICO without investing in an ICO. And this is awesome because, like, Ethereum is really what's fueling all these ICOs. So if you're thinking about investing in 10 different ICOs that are already being built on top of something that you could have invested in, why not just buy Ethereum? Hold Ethereum. Invest in the thing that all these other things are investing on. Has anybody seen the movie The Founder? With Michael Keaton from Beetlejuice? He talked about how he pretty much came into the McDonald's industry, the business, and took over the business because he bought the land that the companies were building on. So if you were like, I don't know if I should buy this ICO, I don't know if I should invest in this token like, Golem or SWAT or, or Sweet. Swarm City asked me to call it Sweet. I'll call it Sweet. It's Sweet token. So, but if you wanted to invest in any of these tokens or things running on the Ethereum network, you could just invest in Ethereum. Or I could have just invested in Game Credits instead of buying the Mobile Go tokens. So there are other ways that you could go ahead and be involved in the ICO, but you don't have to actually invest in the ICO. You can invest in the thing it's building on top of. And then again, you can wait until it's released, hits an exchange, stabilizes, consolidates, it meets a real value, and then you can invest. Maybe wait a year to make sure it's actually going to stick around and do what it's supposed to do. Any questions about ICOs? Fire.
Quick question. So you mentioned Tone Bays that comes with one of these, and I know I'm a fan of him and Vinny Wingham, and both of them are very bearish on Ethereum. And one of the things they say about the ICOs is when, like, I think Stratus just had an ICO and they raised like $130 million. And now they came out yesterday and said that they're going to start liquidating their Ethereum. So they collected $130 million in Ethereum, but now they're going to transfer that into Bitcoin,
Right.
which is going to bring down the price of Ethereum. So if you invest in Ethereum thinking that it's like you're pumping up these ICO people are going to liquidate that, maybe put it in Bitcoin or fiat, which is going to bring down the
Yeah,
price.
you're right.
So, especially if it comes crashing down, and a couple of these do that. Although they said that yesterday, the price went up $50 today, so I don't know what that means. Maybe they didn't do it, maybe it just doesn't matter.
It's almost bad news is good news. And anytime any of this is mentioned by like money that big, it almost isn't bad. It's
Yeah.
more attention than like doom. People in Ethereum, for me personally, and I see this, anybody investing in Ethereum is almost always on the edge. You're like, oh, I don't know. Because it's an experiment within an experiment with hundreds of experiments being built on top of it. It's almost like, you ever play the game with where you hit the hammer and the ice cubes fall off? And it's like Jenga on top of that. It's so risky. Everyone's on edge because every time somebody builds an ICO or builds a token, it gets added to that pressure. And you're right, when people take this money that they get from all this and decide to sell out for fiat or Bitcoin, it could affect the market greatly. But like you said, they mention things like that. Like kind of like companies when they do moves like this kind of explain what their next move is and why, and hopefully that we have that transparency where if they do move 130 million out of Ethereum into Bitcoin, they said why before they even did it, and they talked about it, and we can look into it. So that's what I like about the whole open source. Everything's so open source and out in the open, and if anything does happen behind closed doors, it's never really good for that ICO or that token or that coin.
What about, I just got my first ICO Civic last week, and I have the same paranoia that you have. Like, I don't even know if I did it right. I won't find out for 2 weeks when that token's come.
Hopefully you use experimental money, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I didn't go all along, but one thing I know he's doing is he's taking the tokens and putting on, I think on Bitcoin when they have RSK or RKS.
Okay.
It's a new smart contract technology that's going to be implemented in Bitcoin sometime in August.
Rootstock?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So what does that do to Ethereum if now Bitcoin can do the same thing that Ethereum does?
See, Ethereum's already been doing it and it's working. So after that is implemented and proven to have started working, it's going to take. Ethereum's been established for years now. So that's that one addition to the code that it may take a while for people to start building projects on top of that. And I don't think it's going to affect it much, especially not right away. It's going to take years.
Yeah.
And by that time, Ethereum could be more established and already be the go-to. Why move to the next thing?
Yeah, so I'm like drinking the Kool-Aid from Tone Bays, and he hates Ethereum.
Oh, yeah. No, it is. It's hard, yeah.
And the other thing he talks about a lot is, one, you got the kid who's running it, I can't pronounce his name, but they just had a rumor that he died, the price dropped 20% that day.
Yeah, that was
what
Reddit.
happens if he gets arrested or does die, then what happens to the whole project?
Well, that's like investing in Apple and Steve Jobs dies. Do you sell or hold?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
What do you do? If the company's already established, the company already has its use case and it's being profitable, yeah, the CEO matters and it would indeed for this, for sure, but I don't think Ethereum would just stop.
Or with Apple, it's backed by something as opposed to
Right, yeah, exactly, you're right.
being backed by nothing.
Or a backup guy. Like, I don't know much about Ethereum, but is there like a group of like...
Yeah, they have their coders and things. I'm not 100%, like I said, I'm an enthusiast, no expert as well, but I know that if you're Vitalik, you have somebody that's ready to go for you. You have a vice president, and I wouldn't put that on blast, so I'm sure that's why that they don't have like,
Yeah.
hey, if he does that, don't worry guys, he's the next guy in line. And you're just like, oh, well, put it right down on his chest, wait for that guy to die.
Alright, yeah.
I will say this much for Ethereum, okay, they went through a hard fork and it was, and they actually were able you know, honestly, you know, my ex-fiance was like the same way, you know, but the development and the developers that they have in Ethereum are something to look at versus just whatever Bitcoin is doing as well. So I would say you really have to do the research because I think they're still like being paired up, you know what I mean? Like it's not gonna be like one or the other. So I know Tom Bayes is like you said, you know, like he really like, but that's because he's invested so much into Bitcoin that he's gonna, of course, you know, say Bitcoin, you know, let's go. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, another thing is like the amount of coins that are on Ethereum. Like even if everyone sold Bitcoin today and everything went into Ethereum, it would only maybe double in price. A little bit more, it might go to $1,000 different month, right? Like one's $45 billion cap, the other's 35.
Yes.
If you take all 45 and put it into you're up to maybe like $900 per Ethereum, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, but that's also assuming that no other money's gonna come in.
no, you're right, you're right. But then there's also not a limit, and like they can increase the Ethereum cap of coins at any point.
But that was the main point of Bitcoin also.
Well,
Well, there
Bitcoin
is a cap.
is set to 21
Yeah,
billion,
it would
and
be-
Ethereum
it would be
does
like
have the
the base,
option to be
It was made to
infinite.
make unlimited coins, right?
No.
So,
Oh wait, Ethereum you're saying?
no, Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's 21 million.
No, I'm saying it was supposed to be the base of making unlimited coins on, wasn't it?
You're
Yeah.
talking about coin like building
No,
off
like,
Bitcoin, like Bitcoin.
yeah, to some extent.
Okay, yeah, I guess, yeah. I don't know, I'm just trying to learn a little bit. I sold all my Ethereum, so I'm just pissed off. And, like,
Right. Well, here's the
don't get
here.
pissed off, just reinvest while it's low.
The Bernie Madoff method works in crypto more than it worked in the traditional stock market, in my opinion. Buy and hold. Whenever you bought Ethereum, I bet if you were to not have done anything with it, it would have been more than today if you did anything with it. You know, odds are you're going to make a mistake, you're going to do a bad trade, you're going to invest in a bad ICO, and there it goes. Or it's going to dump down. See, Ethereum freaked me out the other day. It went down over $100. I was like, are you kidding me? Is this the Jenga board finally going? Like, get the hell out of here. Because I just saw the thing about Vitalik being dead, and then I'm like, now I see this, and I'm like, come on, guys. Get the hell out of here. I'm looking at my Ether wallet on Twitter, and I think it's a her. So she's tweeting constantly, can you please stop releasing ICOs? You're stressing the network. As I'm watching the price go down, I'm watching Vitalik be dead, I'm watching my Ether wallet plead for some bandwidth. So I'm like, great, brand, freaking fantastic. Because Ether, personally, is my majority holding. I'm a big fan of Ethereum. I think the Skynet of the future is Ethereum. And Ethereum will be being used for smart contracts for things we can't even fathom yet. Like, we don't even know what, because we're not the people that would use them. You know, we're early investors, we're early adopters, but we're not going to be the final stage users, the end game users. In my opinion, most likely.
But I think that there's gonna be a place for Bitcoin, there's gonna be a place for
That's
Ethereum. So you really have to watch the market and see what places you're gonna actually be trending into because that's what the
Really? Waves.
reality is. gonna be.
I've been checking the Waves
Yeah.
platform
Right,
now.
now it's for-
Waves platform caught my attention, yes.
Yeah.
So hopefully people stop using Ethereum for that and go use the Waves
The
platform
reason
for
that,
that.
that
Alright,
you
next
guys
slide.
that, you know, Ethereum is like, ooh, whatever is the.
Cool. Alright, so, sorry, just to wrap up this last topic here, safety and security. So let's start off with the basics, like not your keys, not your Bitcoin, meaning if you're not in control of the private keys of your coins, they're not your coins. Sites like trading exchanges, lending platforms, and server-side wallets could pose a risk. Never disclose your holdings and never keep them all in one place. God forbid something happens, it wouldn't affect your entire holdings. Always use 2FA for everything, and don't forget to use a VPN. Seriously, please don't forget to use a VPN. Safety and security in short, so like their private keys, make sure you have your recovery phrase, the seed, or like Coinbase even will let you get your private keys to your coins. So it's a little bit of a settings process, but you can get to the private key, you can export it into a PDF, throw it on a flash drive, you encrypt your flash drive. Coinbase disappears. You can get your Bitcoin on the Jax or Mycelium with your private key that you exported from Coinbase. So if you don't have your private key for your Bitcoin that's on Coinbase, and Coinbase login, username, password thing disappears, you're beat. That's it, it's gone. But if they disappear, and as long as they didn't take your private keys and move your money out, like, you know, but as long as they didn't take your private So make sure that you have your private keys. And for the seed, say you use Jaxx. Does anybody here use Jaxx Wallet? It's a multi-cryptocurrency software wallet where it's a client side. So you use it? No, nobody uses Jaxx.
Even after the hijack, you still use it?
Jaxx, that was the hardware though. That's why I'm an iPhone user.
Okay.
You know, Jaxx itself did have like a vulnerability in a sense, but it was the hardware you were running Jaxx on. So if you're running a computer like a gateway computer with Windows 7 and Chrome, and you had malware, somebody could have ran a protocol to pull your private key from your Jaxx wallet through the real vulnerability of Chrome and Windows. So that's
I
where it
almost
really comes
started
in.
using it on my iPad, but after that, I was like,
I use Jaxx for not trading, but like if I wanted to invest in an altcoin. So Sweet, SWT from Swarm
I
City.
can't even say it.
They're beating it in me in the Twitter messages. I can't get away from it. So Sweet, the token for Swarm City. Yeah, I can use Jaxx to take my Bitcoin and shapeshift it into an altcoin like SWT. So I don't have to take my Bitcoin and then pay a transaction fee to get it on an exchange, pay the exchange fee to buy the cryptocurrency I wanted, and then pay another transaction fee to get it onto the wallet I want to hold it on. So that's why I use Jaxx. I was like, well, I'm not trading back and forth, but if I want to take a majority of some coin and get some other coin, I can use Jaxx and avoid all those transaction fees and all that.
Nah, man, I gotta read more before.
Well, there's hardware wallets that do stuff. I'm hoping that there's going to be Shapeshift integration or something to that effect for the Ledger Blue, because they're open source. Anybody can build an app for their platform. So maybe Jaxx or Shapeshift will, and that hardware is locked. So if Jaxx made a software for that hardware, that's it. And for me, that would be immutable as using any hardware wallet anyway. Wallets, like hard wallets, soft wallets. A software wallet is like Jaxx. It's on your phone or Mycelium or Copay. It's a software that you run on hardware. A hardware wallet is itself a piece of hardware that you use to interact with their own software or third party, like I think Mycelium and Copay. And a couple, I think, use Jaxx or Ledger now. Even myetherwallet.com, yeah, you can use your Ledger to interact with them as well. So you could use your hardware wallet or software wallet. Now, server side versus client side is pretty important to understand the difference of. Coinbase is a server side wallet where it has, the great telltale of this is there a username and a password. If you have a username and a password, you're using a server side client wallet where the server has your private keys and all the information associated with your value. If it's a client side, your hardware is holding your private keys and you don't really have any username or password. It's usually a giant private key or something like that you're using to interact. Like Jaxx, you have your 12-word phrase. That they don't hold your keys. So if I only had Jaxx on my phone and I lost it and I didn't have my recovery phrase, that's it. I lost my money, just like if I lost my leather wallet with my cash in it. VPN and two-factor authentications. Anybody here know what VPN is or don't know what VPN? Anybody? VPN, yes or no? Yes and no. Alright, so a virtual private network will keep you safe. For me personally, I use it pretty much only on guest hotspots or any Wi-Fi that isn't my own. When I'm at the gym or if I'm at work or if I'm here, I'm using the VPN that's built into the iPhone. And then there's an app like BetterNet that's a VPN you could purchase. But if somebody were snooping on the Wi-Fi here, and you went to Coinbase, typed in your email, typed in your password, there's a chance that they could have got that information just watching the interactions on the open Wi-Fi that you're using to basically use basic common sense when you're checking your bank info. You wouldn't do it on SEPTA's free Wi-Fi because of risks. Don't check your Bitcoin, but you can if you use a VPN, you're probably safe, especially if you're using a good one. Two-factor authentication, Google's authentication is great. There are third-party apps. Now here's my only fear with two-factor authentication. You lose access to the hardware, like my phone is my two-factor authentication phone. And if I lost this, yes, I can log into Google with that, but what if I got in a car accident, forgot my password to Google because I have a concussion, and now I'm beat, I can't access. Of course, I could probably plead my case with a driver's license or something to get access to that account, but you could be hindering yourself and putting yourself in a position where if you lost your Google account for some reason, you got reported or Google banned you from using their server for any reason, now you lost your two-factor to access your wallets. So that's just something to keep in mind. But the risk of that over the risk of somebody trying to access your Coinbase account and then pull all your money out, your phone will get a notification saying, is this you? And you have to hit yes. And then you have to go even farther to say which out of the 3 numbers is the number being presented on the screen. So you would have to be in the same room with the person that's ripping you off, or they would have to have access to your phone, which hopefully is encrypted, and then your information of your exchange as well. So if you're using a VPN and two-factor authentication plus the hardware wallet, you're untouchable. So how to stay safe without going overboard? Just make sure you have your private backup. Always back up your wallet and have your passphrase or your keys. So if you're using Coinbase and you don't have your private keys, I seriously think you should make that your first goal for the night. Go home, research, how do I get my private keys from Coinbase? Because that's the server-side wallet. If that client disappears, your money's gone. Wallets are for holding, and exchanges are for trading. So if you're making money on Poloniex or Bittrex or whatever these exchanges like Kraken, and you have 7 to 10 Bitcoin just sitting in there, and you're thinking that's money you can count, pull it out, put it in a wallet. If you're not going to trade it, pull it off the exchange. But if you're going to use it for moving and gambling or trading, leave it there. It's fine. That's what it's for. But don't ever say that Poloniex is your bank. You know that the exchanges are not there to hold for long term. So I wouldn't do that. And again, VPN plus two-factor authentication pretty much means you're untouchable. All right. So any questions about theft?
Can you get private keys from blockchain?
Blockchain.info? Yeah, they give you the ability to get your backup phrase, and I believe you can get your private key as well. And I believe you can get your private key as well. It's just extra step. But as long as you have your backup phrase, it's the same exact thing as having the private key. But the thing is, Coinbase doesn't give you a passphrase because you log in with your username and password. So that essentially is the 12-word passphrase. So if you have the passphrase, you have your private keys essentially. Just it looks neater in the 12 words, or I think the most is what, 24 words? Some use 24. It's a little bit older now, I think.
I have 2 questions. One, what would be a wallet that is like a program that you download on your computer? Is that considered a hard or a soft?
That's the software wallet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's software that you're downloading, and your computer would be the hardware that it's on.
Okay. And then what VPNs would you recommend?
TunnelBear is popular as hell throughout the crypto community. I feel like anybody who has paid sponsors in crypto and YouTube is talking about TunnelBear. I've used it. I have it on my computer, and I also use BetterNet. One thing I will say about BetterNet, because there's probably nerds watching that are going to mention this, they had a VPN router, crowdfund router, that never got to the people who invested in that. So they're still making the hardware. I don't know if they ever paid anybody back or people were getting like, rain checks on that, but it was a hardware router that would mean anything you do on your home network was private. Even your internet company wouldn't know what you're doing on your internet. That was awesome about BetterNet, but the hardware never made it out yet, as far as I know. But BetterNet's awesome. I use it on my iPhone for free, but if you wanted to like watch YouTube videos in 1080, you probably want to pay for the extra bandwidth. Anybody else? Yes, Dan.
Couple questions. First, do you know, was there any relationship to the Mobile Go ICO and was there any effect on game credits? Was there any relationship you could tell from that? And do you see that being a thing, like if one coin is related to another in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah,
Does that affect,
so
like, both
really
the
obvious
initial
effect.
coin performance and does it have any?
Yeah, for sure. So like for game credits, and I was like, good question, because I was actually watching the game credits value as the investors were going in. Well, as before the ICO, game credits was just going up because that's the only thing investors could invest in. Plus, they gave the incentive of a 10% discount if investors, instead of using Bitcoin, used game credits. So investors were buying game credits weeks in advance of the ICO so they could get their 10% off, making the game credits price go up, which investors keep seeing. Like my Bitcoin went farther, so if I put incentive for a cryptocurrency to start an ICO to pump the original currency's price
Right.
before the release. And if they're smart investors, on their own side, they're buying and selling their own waves. So yeah, I can see some incentivization on
Take
that.
some forethought how you're gonna approach, some.
That's why I think that you might want to invest in the platform instead of the tokens on top. Investing game credits was probably going to be a better idea long term than buying the ICO.
Right.
Or at least the initial, buy the rumor, sell the news. You could have just invested in game credits till the ICO's release date and sell your game credits for Bitcoin.
That's right.
I mean, you could pretty much do that for almost any ICO that's going to announce like that, though.
Yeah.
So that's actually I'm going to keep that in mind for my next investment.
So also, you said you did 2 ICOs?
I did the Mobile Go one, and I think I missed the NOV one or whatever, the decentralized platform.
Yeah, NGO.
Yeah, NVO. I was looking at it, but I had the podcast. I have my own podcast now on the network, so I had all that going on. I had to figure out. So I didn't have enough time to really read into it to where I felt
Right,
comfortable
yeah, that was
putting
gonna
my
be my
money.
question, is there any, is your sense, from, what you know for the community, that there's any kind of not standard, but is there any general models of if you want to participate in an ICO, these are the steps you need to take?
Yeah, they're basically all the same steps. Yeah, so whatever I did for the Mobile Go when I was looking at the NVO, right? I always say it backwards. When I was looking at theirs, the same thing. You click to join, you create a username and password, and then they show you the crowdfunding homepage, and then they show you where you can send your investment and where your investment will get sent to. So it's pretty much all static. And there doesn't seem to really be a standard because anybody can do an ICO.
Right.
I think if you're going to do there's so many healthcare ones right now, so many healthcare ICOs, all they got to do is copy and paste and then release a token. And it's wow, this looks so good. I'm yeah, it looks like the other 10. There's no regulation in this, guys. Zero regulation.
There's no SRO or...
There's no regulation at all.
No, because part of
The IRS still doesn't even know how they're going to get anything from any of us anyway. My friends keep asking me, what are you going to do for taxes?
Regulated, because a lot of times, we're in the U.S., right? A lot of these places are, they're on servers all around the world. We don't have the U.S. government doesn't have jurisdiction over any of the country. Maybe they might have through TPP or some kind of shit like that, but,
Doesn't that concern you that one person could own 75% of this currency and...
Doesn't it bother you that the government owns 100% of your currency? You're using money that's backed by a government that's $20 trillion in debt. That should scare the shit out of
You're using money that's backed by nothing.
It's backed by what we give it value to. It's backed by encryption.
It's supply and demand.
So that, it's the same thing with...
I'm a logistician, so you really have to really look at the actual supply chain and the currency for you to understand that where it goes is the power that you're giving it, just the same thing as fiat, So when you're actually looking at fiat, you're actually sitting in a bubble that's about to burst like all the other governments.
$20 trillion debt. It's insane.
That's giving you an out so that you can actually climb the ladder. That's the way I see it.
I love when I first got into crypto, one of the things I loved the most was learning that the Federal Reserve wasn't federal nor has a reserve. That was wait, get the fuck out of here. Next thing you're gonna tell me is blue isn't really blue. Come on, what do you mean it ain't federal? But no, the Federal Reserve is as private as a subway. It doesn't. They're just instead of Subway sandwiches, they make money. They just print that shit and sell it to banks, buying debt. It's insane how money works. And it's insane our comprehension of money has to be tangible. Has to be I need a piece of paper. If you hold a $5 bill long enough, it's going to eventually get you what $1 is. It's insane. And every 35 years, it's lost 50%, right?
Yeah.
So you get to its lifetime, I think it's lost. you know how many homeless people have iPhone 5Ss right now that don't have a bank account? All of them. Every homeless person. They all have an iPhone. They all have one.
Statistics.
It's crazy. They don't ask you for money. They ask you for electricity. Can I charge my phone while you're parked up? Like,
You know, man.
I only need some. But seriously, so these people, the unbanked, even in our country, imagine how much worse it is other places, don't have the means to get a bank account. They don't have photo ID. They can't get a bank account. So if you're homeless and you are somehow gaining value or want to transfer value, you find out about your phone being a bank, it's game on. Now these
What
people,
check cashing companies are
Western
successful.
Union just signed up with Coinbase. They know what's happening. You know, the laws that are being sort of put in place or trying to be built around regulating cryptocurrency isn't for fun. They're putting a lot of money into this. They know it's not going to.
Look at all the companies that are jumping in on Microsoft, Linux, you know, like all these big honchos are like the Apple dude's like, wait for me.
Yeah.
Hold on, don't
Yeah,
wait.
no, tap and pay isn't working. Tap and pay isn't working.
for Bitcoin right now. Here, how much do you want?
You know what's funny though, because tap and pay takes I think 7% from the business. So if you're a business and you want to accept Apple's little tap and pay feature, instead of the traditional 3 to 5% per transaction, you're paying 5 to 7 cents. As a business, they're going to say, fuck that. I don't care if they take 3 seconds to fumble through and swipe a card rather than tap. I'm not paying.
Apple's so much better than everything. I mean, you should pay.
I'm not paying more for that. And then you're gonna find out, oh, cryptocurrency. Personally, like the business Quick Fix where I work, we accept Bitcoin through BitPay.
Wait a
It's
second.
1%.
You know, Apple's already jumping in on board where they're looking for cryptocurrency to integrate with Apple Pay.
They're hiring Ethereum smart contract developers.
Yeah. So what you're saying is understanding, but when you start to do the research for it, you'll understand it a whole lot better.
Yeah, the
When
fact that
you
it's
think about
fractional,
it.
like you don't have to buy a whole one. A lot of
See
people
what you're
think about
saying,
that.
yeah, just,
It's unfathomable. I get it, you know? It's like, it's a different.
Well,
world.
imagine if people have a lot of cash reserved, like Floyd Mayweather. Dude has millions of dollars in cash in his.
Does he though?
He likes to show off a lot of paper money printed that's around him. It looks like real money. But imagine if he just took that money, millions of dollars, and just dumped it into one of the poorest neighborhoods. It would be the same thing like dumping your crypto. It's just he wouldn't do it. Odds of somebody that like Satoshi Nakamoto, who could possibly have a shit ton of Bitcoin, wouldn't dump it.
I thought he has like 50%.
I think I heard 1 million Bitcoin or something. I don't think anybody really knows. I think, oh wait, no, there is the Genesis
The
block.
Genesis block, whatever
Yeah,
the Genesis
yeah.
block is, how much you.
I forget what that is. Yeah. Is it 1 million?
Wallets around,
I don't remember offhand. But he does, yeah, supposedly have a lot. And you can see the wallet has
once you're a certain percentage of any currency, you can manipulate that currency to your liking.
Yeah, but
Oh,
here's the thing.
absolutely.
Bitcoin and some of these cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin, you know, obviously we're talking about Bitcoin, it's deflationary, and it stops at the market cap of 21 million being mined in what, 2,141 or something?
Yeah, something
Yeah,
ridiculous.
so it's like digging gold out of the ground. Even if you hoard it and don't use it, it's still going to come out. Miners are going to have to sell it maybe eventually have to sell it for local fiat, because maybe they don't have to eventually, but they have to pay their bills. So the supply will keep coming, and you know, I like the it's fractional. You don't have to have a whole Bitcoin. You can have. We're eventually going to get to the point where 8 decimal places down will be like $1.
They're gonna call it like a millibit or
Satoshi.
something like that.
Well, if we use
You know?
millibit, which is decimal 001.
No, but I'm saying like
millibit,
instead of saying like, can I have $1? They're gonna
Yeah,
say,
let me get
"Send me
5
a
millibit."
millibit."
Yeah,
You know,
millibit.
send us a millibit. You
What
know what I mean? That's how it's gonna be.
Speaking of like the Genesis block and like the early adopters, Roger Ver is reportedly has
Yes.
300,000.
And he owns Bitcoin.com.
And he's on record saying that he's in September going to use his 300,000 Bitcoins to put it into Bitcoin Unlimited when they do a hard fork. Where do you guys stand on that? Like from like following Coinbase, obviously they're like,
Me personally, he's just talking shit. I would love to see him do it. Go ahead, like do it on Facebook Live. Let us watch you make that move. I would love to see the or the public information to follow that transaction. I think he's just.
what do you think would happen if that? Do you think Bitcoin Unlimited would take off, or just totally just give up all the money?
I don't think it would have an effect too much. I think it would just be like one. I feel like he gives himself more power in the space than he actually has.